Hey there, friends and enemies, JoPaWrites here again, and today I want to go over even more buffs that are coming to Remnant 2 in the near future, courtesy of Ben Curitan, the principal designer over at Gunfire Games. Two of these are mod buffs that I previously missed, and the rest of them are for legendary perks for your Prism, and that's really what the bulk of this video is going to be. But first, I want to start off with the mods. First off, Familiar, increased duration 15 to 20 seconds, and reduced cost 1,000 to 750. This sounds interesting. I don't know if it'll be usable, but it is a nice change just to make it better all around. And the second one is Night Guard, increased damage 15 to 65, increased duration 20 to 30 seconds, increased cost 450 to 1,000. So going to cost you significantly more, but for mod builds, this could be really good. And I'm really curious about these two in particular, because as somebody who loves summon builds specifically, I really want these to be really awesome and round out my summons where I could have a summoner, you could potentially have your handler and your best boy, but either way, I'm really curious how these are going to work out, because I would love to see the Night Guard be absolutely insane. Same thing with the Fairy Familiars as well. But now we're going to get into the best part of this update, and that is going to be the legendary perks. And yeah, these sound absolutely insane. Altruistic lifesteal applies 30% of stolen health to allies. Increase shared lifesteal from 30 to 50%, hopefully allowing players to create more powerful support and healing builds. That sounds great to me, and it's definitely something that I will lean into. I love dropping into other people's games on Apocalypse and running healing support builds, and they can do all the damage. I'm just there to help out, make sure they get the clear, etc. So I definitely will be seeing if I can get that rolling. Critical situation grants 25% all critical chance, while lightweight increased critical bonus 25 to 35. It's not too hard to get into light armor class while still having lots of armor. For some builds, this may be more enticing than some of the other damage options. Maybe if you run a build that reduces, maybe you use strong back and you reduce your weight of your armor so you can still rock a medium type of armor or something of that nature, that could be really, really good, especially if you're running a crit build. So I do like that as a change overall. Impervious reduces all incoming damage by 20%. Increased damage resistance from 20 to 30%, almost like having a free armor set. That's actually insane, and these perks, while they are difficult to get, are absolutely going to be worth it for sure. And I think that's something that couldn't always be said in the past. Like, yes, obviously the legendary perks were good and were beneficial to any build and to make sure that you had on your account your character, but now they're going to feel absolutely must-have, and I think that's good when you have a lot of people still trying to chase them. Jack of all trades increases all damage by 45%, reduced bonus from 45 to 40. So a slight nerf for an extremely powerful and well-rounded legendary option. This is the only nerf I believe that we're getting, but this is going to be necessary because Jack of all trades was the one legendary perk that felt like you absolutely needed to have it because of just an all-around damage bonus that worked in pretty much every build. So if you had it on one of your prisms, then that was really all you needed for the most part. Master Killer, increased bonus 1.25 to 1.35 for that weak spot damage, a noticeable damage buff that will outperform the other damage options given the right build and good aim. That's important. I think sometimes in Remnant 2, especially recently, like with the Monolith or Nebula, we've had far too many things that are really good without putting a lot of effort in. And something like the Monolith outperforming the Polygon is frustrating, as far as like you just set it and forget it, and then it just makes builds do insane damage. Whereas if you really maximize the amount you can do with weak spot damage or something, or crit damage, something like that, then it's going to make your precision feel a lot more necessary, which I think is really, really good. Sadistic, so increased chance of 25 to 15% for statuses to deal 1.5 more damage, and increased damage bonus 50 to 100%. Combined with the Jack of all trades reduction, this should make a far more interesting choice. Jack may still be more enticing due to the all-around bonus, but if you're going pure status, you may want to give this a try. As somebody whose current favorite archetype is Ritualist, this is the one that I'm most looking forward to trying out. I think it's going to be really awesome, and it's going to be the main legendary perk that I'm trying to snag because I love having status damage builds. It's my favorite thing. Dot builds, everything like that. Really, really nice. Sharpshooter, increased range damage by 75%, reduced bonus 75 to 60. So there's another nerf here. One of the two most powerful legendary options in the game. This reduction should keep it viable while not drowning other choices. Players now have a more meaningful choice between Sharpshooter, Jack of all trades, Spectrum, Master Killer, or even Critical Situation. I think that's good. Having all of them feel equal in general value, but the ones that are hyper specific will provide more value for those builds in particular is the way to go, in my opinion. So that way, a lot of them are very good. Like, obviously, this damage bonus on Jack of all trades being 40% is still going to be really, really good for the majority of builds. But if you're running status, if you're running something else, you're running a weak point build, maybe now you have some decisions to make instead of just slapping on the one and then calling it a day. So then we've got the Spectrum, game bonus based on color of fragments, increase red bonus 3 to 5%, increase yellow bonus 3 to 5% for all damage and then movement speed. Players can now get a maximum of 45% all damage, 45% movement speed if they build a prism with the entirely red or yellow. Even without building entirely in one color, the per color bonuses are considerably more valuable. I like that idea because it does lead you into trying to chase certain prisms on that certain bonuses on the prism, and I think that's a very, very good thing. Steel plating increases armor by 100. Now it'll increase armor by 150. This change brings the base armor damage reduction value to 42.9%. Since it's pure armor DR, it's more valuable when you have less armor and less valuable when you have more armor. That's something a lot of people, I don't think, consider, especially if they're running bark skin in all their builds when they're running heavy armor. Sometimes your damage resistant value is not as important because you kind of overload it so you don't get the same bang for your buck. So I think that's very, very important. Remember that in the next update, the XP requirements for leveling your prism and re-rolling legendary perks are drastically reduced to entice more experimentation. That's the one thing that I've been asking for with the prism that I'm really looking forward to trying out once it does drop in game. And that's because I do feel like the prism is a good idea, but there were some things that frustrated me. Obviously, how long it takes to level up, how hard it was to re-roll, but also the fact that it felt like you were kind of locked in for quite some time when you were running your prism instead of feeling like, okay, I can test a bunch of things out. This is even worse considering how difficult obtaining some of the prisms can be. It's quite an effort, so if you don't have all of your prisms unlocked, it can feel very frustrating. But anyway, that's going to do it for this video, and I'd love to hear from you guys. I think these are all really interesting changes. I do know people have mentioned in the past about power creep, and I get it. I absolutely understand why power creep can be problematic. I do feel like in this game, though, especially if we don't get any new content down the line, if this is the end of new content for Remnant 2, I don't think that's a bad thing. The really good players have done everything already. They've achieved everything. And if you want to invite new players to the game at any point, if you want to allow players who are more middle of the road, maybe they're not as dedicated, to get a lot of the things and have fun with the game over the course of the long haul, then having things feel really strong, giving them that power fantasy, I think is a good thing. We've had the very difficult, challenging parts of the game. The original Apocalypse, when everyone was struggling to beat that, was really challenging. The boss rush mode, getting to the Gauntlet Apocalypse version of that, is an absolute grind that takes a long time, and a lot of people will just never do that. But now at least a lot more people will have that opportunity. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Like, comment, subscribe. My name is JoPa. Have a good one. I'll catch you all later.